In the murky world of criminal enterprises, very few exploits stir the imagination quite like the smash and grab. It's a simple yet effective tactic. Smash through barriers with brute force, seize whatever valuables lie within reach, and vanish into the night. And while typically associated with modest gains, the allure of a smash and grab lies in its potential for audaciousness. And the result, more often than not, is the perpetrators' names being etched into the annals of criminal tales. The Sweden of 2009 presented a tantalizing snatch and grab opportunity for a band of thieves. It was a perfect storm of lax security measures and a lucrative target that made a heist an attractive prospect for those with a thirst for high-stakes crime. Coming up, we explore and shine a spotlight on a seminal event in Swedish criminal history, the first helicopter-assisted heist. Join us as we uncover an intricate web of conspiracy that culminated in one of the most audacious robberies that the country has ever witnessed. Next, on The Vault. It's the quiet pre-dawn hours of 3rd September 2009, and the G4S cash service building in Västberga, Sweden is bustling with activity. The overnight crew, which was responsible for the meticulous counting of money, is diligently carrying out its duty on the 6th floor. This is a routine job, one that they have done time and again over the years. But on that day, as they went on with their monotonous tasks, trouble was brewing. The G4S cash service building in Västberga, where the crew was working, had a flaw in its design. For years, the design flaw had gone unnoticed, but on this day, in that cold September morning, that flaw would unwittingly make the overnight crew sitting ducks in a daring heist. As the clock ticked on this night, there was a strange feeling in the air. Oscar Lindgren, the group leader of the G4S overnight crew, was used to the usual sounds of trucks outside. But this morning, he felt something wasn't right. At first he thought it might be the usual noises of trucks waiting for their cargo, but not today. This was a different and unsettling vibe. Something not quite normal was lurking beneath the surface. The usual vibrations reverberating through the quiet of the early morning hours were usually considered harmless background noises. But this morning, the vibrations were growing stronger and stronger, and suddenly, the crew could feel it within the cash room walls. Oscar got a weird feeling about the noises, and as an experienced leader of the overnight crew, he knew what kind of vibrations would be considered normal, and this was not one of them. Oscar composed himself and decided to investigate. First, he turned off the money counting machines and strained to figure out what was causing the disturbing noise. And what he heard sent shivers down his spine. It was the unmistakable sound of something pounding towards the cash room, and the noisy gongs were getting louder and louder. Now, G4S employees are usually trained on how to handle unexpected situations. But on that early morning, this experienced crew leader and his team was tense and dumbfounded. Every ounce of training they had received escaped them. And after what seemed like an eternity, Oscar composed himself and took charge. He radioed the security team on the 3rd floor and explained the situation. Nervous and worried, he quietly left the safe room, all his senses on high alert. All the crew members had stopped counting the money at this point. Everyone's face was quickly becoming sweaty as their hearts pounded with every gong that reverberated from outside. Oscar got out of the cash room and stepped into the dimly lit hallway where the noise was amplifying. And his worst fears lay right in front of him. Two mysterious figures in black, wearing motorcycle helmets and armed with various tools, looked ready to do something. But what really gave him the creeps was the third person coming down from above on a set of ladders leading to the skylight. The thieves had broken the roof glass of the building and laid out the ladders down to the floor. The figure descending was carrying large backpacks, their outline clearly visible through the September dawn moonlight. The cash room was about to be robbed. In a surge of adrenaline, Oscar sprang into action. He swiftly ran back to the cash room, careful not to make any noise. After entering the room where he had left the overnight crew, he locked the door. His heart was beating fast, and he had to compose himself to speak. Oscar spoke in a low tone, barely whispering, and informed the crew of the black figures in the hallway carrying large money bags. After relaying this information, the room went silent. The crew was super alert, but nervous and scared. Everyone stood still to avoid making any noise. This was real life with real consequences. Any wrong move by any of the crew members could mean their very last time breathing. Now, such a story is what you will expect in an episode of FBI Files, something you would watch to get the thrill of it. But on that cold September morning, the universe had conspired to make the ordinary daily job of G4S staff into a tale of horror. Oscar and his crew had just been plunged into a conspiracy plan that will shake them and their loved ones to the very core. Back in the hallway, the gang was already at work. With an abundant arsenal of powered hand tools, the shadowy figures were drilling the walls of the cash room. It will only be a matter of time before they get access to the vault where the cash was and come face to face with the G4S overnight crew who were taking cover in the adjoining room. Oscar snapped out of the terror and directed the team to protect the money they had already counted. Those notes were loaded on trolleys and rolled to a secure vault below the cash room. And I can tell you, it was loads of cash. The crew worked fast but quietly, their minds very aware of the clear and present danger looming in the hallway. Tension was high in the air as the crew wheeled the trolleys to lock up the cash. It was a silent countdown to the big showdown, ripe and ready to test them to the maximum. When Oscar called the security staff at the G4S building and informed them of the unwanted visitors in the hallway, the staff alerted the Swedish police. It will just be a matter of minutes before sirens come blazing towards the facility. This knowledge gave Oscar and his crew some hope. But in times of danger, every second clock tick seems like a minute. You can literally count 1 to 10 within the second. After minutes of swiftly but quietly moving the money that had been counted to the vault, the crew huddled in one corner of the cash room. Their hearts were pounding as they waited for the police. And despite their sweaty faces and throbbing hearts, they had some hope. They knew that the strong doors and super tough glass of the cash room would hold for some time. And the thieves had learned of this too. Despite using high-powered tools to try to break into the cash room, progress was slow as the wall refused to easily give in. Now, if only the police would show up on time. Johan Peterson rose up from his desk, his mind ablaze with urgency. A call had just come through from his security team. The building was under siege. The G4S cash service building in Västberga had been breached by unknown people. As the head of security at G4S at the time, Peterson had to take charge. He quickly grabbed his laptop and ran towards the cash room, the center of the unfolding crisis. With the police already informed of the heist, It will only be a matter of minutes before they storm the G4H center and tackle the assailants. The experienced security guard continued racing towards the cash room. The police will need to catch up with him later. But what was meant to be a few minutes dash by the police from their station to the G4S cash room turned out to be a nightmare. As the police cars blazed towards the G4S building under siege, they were met with an unexpected barrier. Metal chains had been cunningly hidden along the main road leading to the building under siege. The police convoy came to a grinding halt just a few meters before coming into contact with the metal chains. The silver shine of the chains, reflecting in the pre-dawn moonlight, made the police get on high alert. It was clear that whoever were behind the black motorcycle helmets in the G4S building were not ordinary robbers. Police squad commander instructed the patrol cars to be moved back 50 meters from the chain link to prevent any chances of potential casualties. No police vehicle was to go past the chain links until their true identity could be determined. But that was not all. As police combed the area near the chain links on foot, they discovered that a few meters ahead, the thieves had erected caltrops on the road, ready to puncture the tires of any police vehicles attempting to bypass the metal chains. The silent caltrops, with their sharp prongs, acted like tough opponents. There is no way that the police vehicle will pass them without getting their tires flattened. The metal chains and the caltrops had not been simply erected to obstruct the police. Rather, they were a well-devised strategy meant to buy some time for the thieves as they executed their meticulous plan. And time passed, just like the bandits wanted. The last thing that the police would have wanted was for the ongoing heist at the G4S building to turn out to be a hostage situation. And even though time was running fast, they could not risk going through the chain links and the caltrops. So, they looked for another option: air support. The air wing of the police unit was quickly assembled, and officers in full tactical gear, guns and ammunition were ready to board their helicopters to the G4S building. In a record 3 minutes, the police helicopter will be meters away from the entrance of the building. The loud chopping noise of the helicopter engine will burst through the chilly quietness of the cold, alerting the bandits inside the building that the police were in the vicinity. In seconds to follow, the elite Swedish tactical police team would storm the entrance of the G4S building and comb the floors to apprehend the bandits. But this was also not to happen so quickly. You see, as the police helicopter pilots approached the entrance of the hangar, they noticed something sinister. It was a chilling sight. Metal boxes strategically positioned at the entrance had blinking red lights. There were multiple bombs at the entrance of the hangar. The timers on the bombs were ticking steadily as the countdown to detonation glared on their faces. Given the way things were, any rescue attempt by using the helicopters would be a dangerous gamble. With the bombs placed at the entrance and the jet fuel in the hangar, any detonation would be catastrophic. As the police grappled with these unexpected obstacles, they realized they were up against a group of criminals who were not just after the riches, but were also masterminds of chaos. Back to the G4S building. Inside, Peterson and his team are in a race against time to unravel the conspiracy and save their town from the clutches of a complex heist. But the shadows concealed the identities of the orchestrators, who confidently continued boring through the walls of the cash room. The stage had been set for a dawn showdown between law enforcement and a criminal syndicate that had turned their routine early morning work into a high-stakes heist. As chaos reigned within the G4S security building, Oscar and his valiant team were on the brink of a deadly heist. With each deafening explosion, the encroaching threat drew nearer, threatening to shatter the hardened wall and steel that separated the crew from certain death. Inside the cash room, Oscar and his team were sitting ducks. It was becoming clear that the walls of the cash room will not hold on for long. Any minute from now, the walls will come crumbling down and the G4S crew will be face to face with the deadly assailants. This realization prompted Oscar to make a daring decision. The team leader ignored protocol and instructed his team to move from the cash room to the vault located on the second floor. It was a dangerous journey, but one that was necessary rather than being cornered in the cash room by the encroaching bandits. Time has now passed, and Johan Peterson is wondering why the police have not stormed the entrance of the G4S building. He was sure he had heard sirens from a distance, but didn't know why after more than 10 minutes, there was no single activity to signify any presence of law enforcement inside the building. Peterson had to do something to find out what was going on. He opened his laptop and connected into a live CCTV feed into the building where he saw the robbers drilling their way to the cash room. With every passing second, the specter of danger loomed larger. From the CCTV feed, he could see that the bandits were meticulous and precise in their operation. This was not good news. And minutes stretched into eternity. The police were acutely aware of the stakes, but did not know what to do next. The band of thieves had smartly outclassed them, countering their every move. With bated breath, they watched as the thieves, emboldened by their audacious triumph, plundered the vault with ruthless efficiency, their every movement a grim testament to the gravity of the situation. And then, just like they had entered the G4S building, the thieves carried the now loaded cash bags up the ladder to the roof of the building where they had parked a helicopter. The perpetrators made their escape, vanishing into the darkness with their ill-gotten gains. As the distant chop of the helicopter faded into the horizon, the full extent of Sweden's first smash-and-grab heist became painfully clear. It was a history-making feat of criminal ingenuity, executed with precision and flair that left law enforcement powerless to intervene. In the end, the G4S building was estimated to have 1 billion Swedish kroners, which was about $150 million at the time.